Okay, I think we'll get started. So again, please check in. Trends 8, last one of the day for Trends and Insights. And there is a QR code at the back as well if you need it. And to welcome our final Trends and Insights guest speaker, last but no means least, Carlo, Regional Sales Manager EMEA at Lighthouse. And Carlo will be discussing how we can navigate the complexities of hotel revenue optimization.
Okay, thanks for coming. I know it's the second day, it's a long day, and yeah, it's afternoon after lunch, so I'm gonna try to, I'm doing my best to make it meaningful and short. Quickly, what is this? Gamification points, yes, of course. If you want to do this part. And then, yeah, briefly about me, I've been in the industry for more than 20 years, prefer not disclose how many, a lot. I started to work with the Middle East markets 12 years ago when I was in TripAdvisor, and then I moved into the hotel tech space 6 years ago, more or less, and it's more or less when I started to just work with more the revenue management side of things, so I'm kind of a rookie compared to the audience, probably, in the revenue management, so I'm kind of feeling it's kind of a challenge for me, but also feeling blessed, and it's an opportunity because I'm really into data and technology, and this is an opportunity to talk about this and the symbiosis between human and technology. And about Lighthouse, I believe pretty much everyone knows Lighthouse. It doesn't need much introduction. It was OTA Insight, started as a one product company many years ago, 11 years ago. And then it's been evolving to what is now a platform of many solutions, trusted by more than 70,000 hotels worldwide. And yeah, briefly about the platform, just if you don't know, this is the platform at the moment we have. We start with Predict. We have solutions that help hotels predict the market. Then we have solutions that help pricing the rooms with a lot of knowledge about what's happening in the market, in the concept. Then distribution, help distribution, and help do this distribution on all the channels, taking a good look and control at the parity rates, then analyze the business using business intelligence tools that are able to look at the total revenue and combining all the different sources in one source of truth in the hotel. And finally, benchmark, which is an approach we have different, just going beyond the classic reports and the concept using AI and generative solutions. This is kind of the platform, as I said. It's a platform that is generating 400 terabytes of commercial data per day. Only the shopping part, the shopper, is looking at 1.9 billion hotel rates a day. So it's a lot of data we just managing, and this we're doing it by having a very high standard of above the 70% NPS score. Okay, enough about Lighthouse. What I wanted to talk is these 3 points here. First, predict future market demand using pre-booking data. Then second, optimize your pricing strategy. So looking at the available rates, the advertised rates, the shopping rates. And then overcoming technological barriers to have a different approach to benchmarking using on the book data. All right. Let's start with the first one. And when we talk about predict future market demand, what I like to do is let's look beyond what is usually the actualized data. So what's happening before actualized, right? Was all the pre-booking data. So we're talking about the search, flight, and search hotel, the terabytes as well of searches that we are generating every day in the planet that leaving a trace. And that trace is been proven that is a very good indicator of the demand that's coming. This example, for instance, well, this is in New York, it's in June, but it applies for pretty much every market and in most of the time windows. What we have in this example, for instance, just to illustrate, is that around 100, I mean, by the way, this is, this around 170 days before the date, which is somewhere in June, as I said, the occupancy was 4%. There was no indication that was going to be a high occupancy, but then there's a little spark in the flight search here, you can see. And then from the 120 and 90 days, there's a lot of increase in flight search and hotel search. that wouldn't be that obvious in the occupancy, right? So a hotelier looking at this data every week will identify a spark and will be able to anticipate some demand that is going to be above expectations on occupancy. So this is proof. There's been many studies, many surveys that prove this case and the value of this data to the point that actually we are feeding this data to most of the RMS in the industry, many of the ones that are here. We're feeding this data to increase accuracy. So just looking at how this impacts the markets in a different way. Every market is different. So here we're looking at search and hotel flight. Again, red is high volume of searches, and blue will be lower volume of searches. This, sorry, is very tiny, but believe me, this is November, and this will be May. It's looking at 7 months, and it's around, it's searches for, yeah, it's looking at 7 months and 90 days of searches. And for instance, in Dubai, we can see here Big Five. We can see here the 30 days, more or less, a bit more than 30 days, starting in December, of the festive shopping, the shopping festival. Then here we have the tennis, the open tennis, that is expected to have for 40,000. Then if we look, for instance, at Riyadh, it's a very different example. It's a classic business scheme where we can see the increase in flights from Monday to Thursday and the decrease from Thursday to Sunday, right? Because it's business. But again, there's some peaks that will be interesting to look at. Or Abu Dhabi, again. I mean, by the way, this snapshot is from 2-3 weeks ago. So that might probably change now. But in Abu Dhabi, we can see still a big surge here. This is the Grand Prix. And here we can see Coldplay, and this will probably be the exact, perfect, exactly. That's expected 100,000 more or less visitors, right? I mean, these cases are obvious. Probably if you are in the market, you know these cases. But the point is that beyond this, if you're looking as if a hotel, I'm looking at this from my hotel every week, I'm going to be able to identify things that I was not expecting, that are not there in the announcements, in the events, and it's important having a look at this, right? And then after that, I can just go deep and see, okay, but where is this search coming from, right? And I can go and see the flight searches, for instance. If I were a hotel, I would be looking at the flight searches of my hotel, obviously. For the sake of this presentation, I'm just comparing markets, Dubai, Riyadh, Doha, and Abu Dhabi. And we can see that in all these cases, and again, it's same dates, 90 days. In all these cases, United Kingdom is the top origin of the searches, but then there's some difference. I mean, there's Germany and India showing in most of the cases, but then, for instance, in Abu Dhabi, there's still a lot of searches from Italy, probably for the Grand Prix. Or we can see in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia is the third most, the top origin of destinations, demonstrating the fact that it's a very domestic, it's a highly domestic market. And from here, as an hotelier, I could go deep and then look in the airports. And for each of these countries of origin, I can just look at the airports and then decide, okay, what's my strategy, what I can do on the GDSs, etc. Right? That's one of the things that can be done with all this pre-booking data. And then same for the hotels. The searches from hotels doesn't need to be exactly the same as searches from flights. There's a difference always. First, because the time window. I mean, the flights are usually happening before the hotel booking, but also because in this case, for instance, this data set is not taking into consideration short-term rentals. And short-term rentals have an impact. So again, it's an interesting data set to control and check and see where these origin are, right? So this is an example of how to look at the pre-booking data. Then second scenario I wanted to talk about is the data that is available, the shopping data, so all advertised data from the hotels, right? If we look at this, one of the points that are really important to look at as a hotelier is the discounts. The length of stay, 3 days, 2 days are the most used ones, and then the mobile discounts. These three things if you're not doing it, it's a very interesting point in order to organize your, to improve your pricing strategy, looking at your competition and see what rates are showing there. In this case, again, instead of looking at the competitors, I'm comparing the markets. You can see here Abu Dhabi, I don't know if you can see it, but it says Abu Dhabi, Doha, Dubai, and Riyadh. So in this case, for instance, we can see that Dubai is the one that is giving the highest number of length of stay 3, while Riyadh is actually the one that is giving the highest number of mobile web discounts. Right. Then another interesting point to look at when you look at the available rates, the public rates, is the cancellations and the rate types, right? And again, this is to look at the concept, but in this case, comparing the markets, what we can see is the hotel ratio offering non-refundable. In the case of the markets, Riyadh is the one that is giving the lowest non-refundable compared to the other markets, and also the highest number of rates that have the cancellation, 0 days cancellation before arrival. You can see Riyadh is the one that is giving the highest number. And in terms of hotels participating in Genius, I can see that Dubai is the highest one. Again, if I was looking from my hotel, I would be looking at this in my comp set, right, to compare and decide my strategy. Another important point to take into account here is that obviously the seasonality and that every year is different, and this is obvious, but it's so happening in these markets. These are very dynamic markets that are unpredictable in many ways. So it's good to look at them and compare. In this case, we are comparing year on year, January to December. So the first 11 months up to November are an actualized data, and the last one is advertised rates. Right, and you can see the difference. The yellow is Riyadh, for instance. Yellow has been doing very well, and it's a 48.5% increase over the year compared to the previous year. And what is important of here is that every market has some months that are higher than the previous year, and some months that are lower than the previous year. There's really not much to see to look at the previous year only, so that's not easy to anticipate. And the other point also, which is important, is the lead time. In this case, these slides are using different set of markets. It's including Istanbul and Manama, and it's looking at 90 days. And you can see here in this case, it's only five stars, and this line here, 0, will be the actualized price at the moment of the booking, and in this case you can see the only market that was above that was Makkah. But if we look at that, the whole all the categories, then also Manama. Again, this is something that if I'm in my hotel, I can look at the concept and I can and look at the pace. It's an important point to check. And just to make a point on this and how different each market is and how different from one year to another, this chart is comparing the whole year. It's comparing actually 4 years, so from 2022 to 2025. So the first 3 years is actualized data, are the continuous line, and the dotted lines is the advertised data, right? So so in 2024, it starts here, the advertised, and up to here is the past data. And the purple blue is 2024. In the case of Dubai, we can see that Dubai, it is a few months in which the actualized is beyond the previous year, and we can see that in summer, the advertised is flat and way above the actualized. If we look at Riyadh, it's been doing a lot better. There's, again, the purple blue is 2024 compared to the previous 2 years. So it's been doing better, and the advertised for next year is pretty flat from March to September. Well, this chart is just messed up because of Yeah, exactly. I mean, this was done by marketing. It's just, well, I don't know if you can tell. There's still something to tell about this because, again, the dotted points are the advertised for next year, and we can see it's pretty flat comprised to what it was. But yes, this needs to be readjusted because of the FIFA. And then Abu Dhabi, again, this is a market that has been doing quite well, and there's many months in which 2024, is above the previous years. And again, it's also that showing that the advertise is pretty flat from March to October for the moment.
The peak on the right are also another exhibition called Adipec.
All right.
Which was now just 2 weeks ago.
Okay, that's very good. Okay, so this was about just tips of how hoteliers are going more deep into the understanding what to do with the public rates of the competitors. And then the third point I wanted to make, I mean, we've been looking at pre-booking data, how to just anticipate better demand from the pre-booking data. We'll be looking at ways to just improve the pricing based on the public rates. And the third will be the benchmarking based on the business on the books, right? I mean, just looking at the historical, but mostly the forward-looking data, the business on the books. And there's these solutions that are reports that are looking at the business of the books or the competition. And here is where it gets a bit tricky because there's lots of, I mean, this means this data comes from the PMSs of the market, of the competitions, and it's where technology makes things a bit more complex. So we've been, from our point, we've been running some kind of analysis on this for 2 years. We were asking the industry, and then for more than a year, we've been building a solution that tries to just approach this from a different angle. Basically, what's covering is that there's low quality on the data because many of these solutions have been built on different types of integration, sometimes using the night audit from PMS, which is sometimes some manual working, or they're using different types of mapping. And also the other problem is the data overload. The revenue managers say that they don't have the time to really analyze all this data, right? So looking at this problem, we approached it and tried to fix it, and we found that there's another problem, what is even bigger, and it's what we call the comp-set problem, because in many situations asking, what is your comp set? Are you happy with your comp set? Many hotels say, well, it's the comp set I have, because the comp set in the end, there's some restrictions in terms of the policy, restrictions in terms of what data is available. So what will be my ideal comp set compared to the comp set I managed to get is depending on many factors. And so again, this is an issue that we wanted to say, okay, how we can solve this, how we can just approach it in a different way. And we came with an idea that is to use the AI for this, right? So you have the market, you have market by class, you have the comp set, but then what if we ask the AI to build our comp set for us, right? And so we built this solution that is live, that is you ask the AI, okay, just tell me what is my comp set. You tell the AI what are the important factors for you, for your strategy. So you take the distance, reviews, base rate, rooms, city center, star, hotel class, all these different factors that are important. And then you also weight how important is each of these. And then the AI is going to build a comp set. And this comp set is going to be anonymized. And this is very important. And then you can just check the results and how the data is, if it's making sense or not. And since it's anonymized, you can play with it and make as many changes as you want until they find some data set that makes sense. But the point that is anonymized is important because then, given the regulations, the actual data sets available are not able to offer ADR and RevPAR for future dates. But when we anonymize this, we are offering ADR and RevPAR. So there's two main benefits we are trying to cover here. One is that the AI is going to look at the comp set in a different way, with a different angle. There's not what your corporate office is telling you about the brands that should be in your comp set, not about what is available or not. It's about what the markets are saying, what the users are comparing you to in most cases. And this is one of the indicators, the factors that are going to weigh more. And the second is that is to provide this extra window to the ADR and RevPAR for the future dates, right? So we came with this ideal scenario in which a revenue manager doing benchmarking with business on the books should be able to look at these 4 different levels. A good representation of the market, a good representation of my class, then my comset, and then this smart comset that's giving me an extra view of what's happening in the market and what is the ADR and the RevPAR. But take into account the problem of the revenue managers that, I mean, there's always this not enough time to look at the data. What we then did was to use generative AI to combine everything into a solution that is actually giving you the insights, the actionable insights of how to look at this data and what to do first. And this is pretty much what I wanted to show and to explain these 3 different tips and levels. And if you're interested in any of the data, any free ride on these data sets, I'm more than happy to just organize this. Well, thank you.